Welcome to the meetup for AI and event professionals. We have two guest speakers today. I'm going to have Tracy Myers introduce herself. Go ahead and say hi, Tracy.
Hey everyone, thanks for the opportunity, Lisa. Tracy Myers, I'm the Director of Event Marketing at Pulumi, based out of Salt Lake City, Utah. Been in the industry for 15 years, and my company is really forcing the use of AI, so I am waist deep in it and happy to share how it's changing my life.
Amazing. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. And if you don't know, Tracy is a member of the Event Professionals Network, so you can chat with her. If you are
Mhm.
not a member of the Event Professionals Network, Miss Evie will put the link in the chat for you to join. It's free. Anyone can join, and we just up level our whole community. Now I'd like to welcome and have Nick say hi and introduce himself. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, hi, Nick Borelli. I've been in the event industry since the first time someone would hire me at 14. So that's the only thing I've ever done. In that time, I've also spent a lot of time in the digital realm. I built my high school's first website in like 1994, and have tried to sit in between the digital world and the in-person world. That's what I do. I work for an AI company in the event space currently, called Zenus, and we do facial analysis. So just showing you that like AI is more than just large language models. We're in the vision AI world. But I'm also the facilitator for an association called PCMA, for their course on enhancing events with AI. In addition, I work on a couple different AI products that are under their umbrella as well, and happy to help.
Amazing. Perfect. So, we also additionally, so we have Tracy and Nick, we have myself, but we also have all of you. So I know y'all are listening, but if you want, we encourage you to engage in the chat. And the reason why is you have tools you're using, you have tricks of the trade that you've been doing, and we're all here to up level each other. So if you have things as we're going along, consider yourself part of this meetup as well. We don't want to just chat at you, we want to engage with you. That's how these meetups are designed. So, Miss Tracy, feel free to share your screen and
Yeah.
take it away.
So, like I mentioned, I run global events for an infrastructure software company. Big ones, KubeCon, AWS reInvent. I see a lot of you there, all the way down to the 12-person meetup, our internal company events, etc. So last fiscal year, that was about 100 activations across roughly 80 events. And I don't have a team. It's me. It's me, y'all. I'm just team of one. And I know that everybody on this call is a doer like me. So I'm not going to talk about AI theory. I'm going to walk you through three workflows that I actually run that you can steal from. And they all come from the same resolution or the same realization is that I don't have a problem that I can hire myself out of. I have a context problem. So, one thing before I start, because I know a lot of you are using free tools, you're out there exploring this on your own. Maybe your company's scared or whatever. So, every workflow I'm going to show you can be built on a free tier, like Gemini or free Chat GPT or whatever the company gave you. The difference really on the free tool is that you do the data fetching. You paste in your event details, your notes, your numbers, and then the AI does the writing and the assimilating. It takes like 2 extra minutes to do it all yourself. But on a paid tool like I'm using, like Claude Pro or Gemini Advanced, I've connected this to all of my existing tools, like my calendar, my email, HubSpot. So the AI does the fetching and the writing, and my job is just reviewing. So same output either way. What I'm really just buying someone to copy and paste for me. So a lot of AI really centers around like write better prompts. And while that it may be true, it kind of means that I'm retyping my context after every single time. And every time I retype something, I'm opening it up for failure. Like I'm going to leave something out. I'm going to transpose some numbers or dates. So that's not me having a prompting problem. That's me having like a data memory problem. So I used AI to build one event record. And so it has 60 fields, all the dates, the tiers, the booth number, the hotel information, the teardown date, staffing. Like that record is the only place that my facts get entered. And then everything AI builds from that downstream pulls from that rather than it being retyped into everything. And so, like across the calendar, that's like 202 different tasks, 102 budget lines, all the comms plan. It's all generated from that same base record. And once those facts are in place, the timeline building is really the easy part now because the event tier drives the lead time. The lead time drives the task skill. And I've built the structured framework into Claude already, telling it the tier one starts 12 weeks out. A tier three starts 4 weeks out. So I told it what the rules were, and then AI can build out that schedule within seconds. But the part that I want you to steal is that I now ask it the question, tell me what else is happening in my industry that week. So doing that, it tells me that, oh, Google Next has completely blacked out an entire week of promo that I wasn't aware of, and everybody we wanted to reach is busy. So just using AI and asking it to be my eyes and ears in the industry when I can't be, it allows me to have a whole view of the industry calendar. So steal that one. Ask it, what else is happening in the industry this week? So how you build this, like on the paid Claude account, I've built this in Notion. That's the tool that we're using. So Claude and Notion talk to each other, it reads the event record, and it creates that work back schedule straight into my review portal. On the free tier, you would build the same thing yourself, like in a Google Sheet or an Excel, like one row per event or one page per event. And then you paste that in as context, and AI hands you back the schedule. And then you paste the schedule. So it's the same schedule, you're just doing the fetching yourself. I honestly think that the tool you're using matters less than the shape of the event record that we built. So the second and the highest ROI workflow that I've built with this, and it takes zero technical skills. I found myself each month writing the same event marketing update that I delivered to the same company. Because I'm creating visibility, y'all. I want everybody at my work to see the work, the value that I'm bringing to the company. But the company is not just one audience. It's leadership wants the trends and what it means for them. Sales, they want me to list out all the named accounts, the top 10 accounts and who owns one. And neither department reads each other's versions. And I used to write those twice, but the second one was always worse because I was tired. So now I use Claude and AI to write that core once, the leadership version, and then I ask it for the sales cut, the marketing cut, the product marketing cut. It's the same facts, just completely reordered. So leadership gets what the numbers mean, and sales knows exactly what to do starting on Tuesday. So on the screen, I've shown kind of an examples of like what that output looks like for my review. It's the same data, three different documents that were drafted to nobody but me. And that's the important part, the draft for review. Because I'm lucky. Like my company is mandating that we use these tools. We have to. I never have to fight the battle of like, could I use AI? But the thing that makes it safe isn't the tool, it's the habit of the review. Nothing I'm building an AI auto posts anywhere. Every draft comes to me first, so I read it, I fix it, and then I post it. AI drafts, a human publishes, and that's the sentence that I can come to any IT conversation firm with. And that's true whether it's a free license or it's a paid tier. So how do you build in this sort of like governance review? So on the paid connected account, it pulls it all and you tell it to draft it into Slack or whatever your review tool of your IM tool of choice. And then on the free tier, you would upload the reports you already run, like out of Salesforce or HubSpot, and ask for the leadership cut. And then you would be like reviewing it along the way before you pasted it. So it's the same documents, just a few more clicks. The next, and so the third a workflow that I automated, and this kind of came from an audience survey. Back in February 2022, we did a session, and automating repetitive tasks was the number one thing that we all wanted AI to really do for us. Like get rid of the toil, right? So I found 4 things that I was doing again and again and again that I turned into a named reusable instruction with an AI. And it all started with my weekly update to my own manager. So now I can use Claude to go into my calendar, go into my email, my Slack, my meeting transcripts, and Zoom, and draft answers to these 3 questions. What did I get done this week? what's up next for me, and what's blocking me. Now, it's not going to be perfect, but it goes from, pretty accurate to done in about 6 minutes of review. When this update honestly used to take me at least an hour a week to create. The second thing is my monthly all company update, kind of the one I just showed you. That one takes data that used to live only in my dashboards and my special, Salesforce dashboards. It takes all that data and puts it in front of every department in the language that that department really cares about. So I've been able to automate that away. Third is a numbers refresh. I found myself there were lots of mistakes when numbers were transposed between one thing or another. So now there's all event leads live in one place, and I command that updates. I'm sorry, let me start over. I command that the leads and sign up results get updated at the end of every event close, at the end of every day. So that means at the end of every day, there's one set of numbers, and everything I write from that builds from that. I used to have different sets of numbers, and I was constantly getting questioned, and now it's one source of truth. And the final thing that I've kind of automated is the morning rah 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 email. You're on site, you're at a 4-day event. Day one is over. You've been at a happy hour till 11 o'clock at night, downloading leads, etc. And you want to send a really great Slack message to everybody at 6 a.m. when they wake up. So now I'm using Claude to go in and report on yesterday's scans, write that out against our goal, our run of show, who's on shift. It really creates that morning, like know before you go that I can share internally before anybody wakes up. I mean, the trick to all of these, it's not that I'm super technical, y'all. I'm not a technical person, but it was noticing the things that I was doing again and again. So next time you catch yourself writing out a prompt for the same thing, the know before you go email, maybe it's the post event thank you, the budget roll up. Stop and type out this sentence and let AI write this instruction and create a skill for you. Every time that I'm doing something again, I write out, I want to do the same thing every month. What should I put in a reusable instruction so I never have to explain it again? And then those instructions that you're building, those become a gem, an agent, a GPT, a project, a skill. Every platform we're using calls it something different, but it's the same idea. And Nick is going to get much deeper into this than that. So, how do you build this? On a paid connected account, the instruction does the gathering, the skill does all the work for you. You tell the skill to go into your calendar, email, Slack, and write the draft that you're telling it what to do. On the free tier, you save the same instructions. I think Gemini Gems is a great place, an easy place to start here. And then you paste in the raw materials yourself. You would paste in your calendar, your sent folder, your notes, and then it creates the draft. So if you want to try one thing today, go back into your chats that you've already had done 3 times and ask it to turn it into a reusable skill for you. Or ask it to look across all your recent work and ask for recommendations on where it sees you repeating yourself. I mean, treat it like an iteration partner. Ask it questions like, where can you see me automating? And you'd be fascinated with what it comes back at. I mean, treat it like an iteration partner, not so much like a vending machine.
Real quick, Tracy.
Yeah,
So everyone get your AI tool up. If you don't have it up, look in there. If you
yeah.
haven't done a skill before, it's on the left side. You can choose to also, so you click on customize if you're in Claude. You can do all those skills. You can look at the difference between different connections and extensions that you can add. So, Tracy, do you have a part in your presentation where you talk about when you use just chat versus cowork versus code and how you've connected everything?
That I think that outlines a lot more deeper in the instruction manual that I'm going to send out after this, where
Okay.
there will be workflows for each kind of level that you're on. So if you're on a paid tier, it'll show you how you can make those connections, like connect to Gmail. It's really hard to show the different options for everybody's tier. So dive a little bit deeper into the resources after this and feel free to reach out with questions.
Yeah, she literally prepared a whole resource guide for you guys. So you can start, you can go in depending on where you are. Great. Thank
Yeah,
you.
we're all at different levels. One more slide before I hand it off to Nick. So here are some 5 things that you can start doing now, roughly in order of how much like access you're going to need. And then, like I said, all 5 of these things are going to be outlined deeper in the resource guide that EPN is going to send out after this. It'll show different versions for the free and the tiered for all the workflows that I talked to. I think the only difference is how much fetching you'll have to do of information. And we were talking about this earlier before everyone joined, just reminding ourselves that there's always a better version of AI output. There's always one more pass, one more iteration of better it can be, right? And I have to get okay with good enough because as event people, we don't always control our calendar. The event happens when the event happens, and sometimes that we just have to stop and be okay. But the nice part is that you can. AI, you will never hurt its feelings. It is not judging you. So yeah, let's be as real as we can with it because there's no judgment here. So I've been talking a lot about streamlining the work that I've been doing to make it better, to make it faster. But Nick's going to show you more about the work that you couldn't even do before AI.
And real quick, before we hand over to Nick, if
Yes.
you have questions, put them in the chat. And at the end, I will be taking those questions and then we'll go through them and answer them. It'll give you a little bit of time to kind of dive in, maybe start making some connections. Tracy, do you want me? I don't think I want to send your resource right now because I want them to focus on what Nick is doing, but we will share the resource out right away so you can
Mhm.
get started. So maybe hold time on your calendar now to go back and review that guide. Okay, Nick,
Thank
over to
you.
you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm just gonna I mean, there's nothing I'm trying to like stay not redundant because that was so much great information and I was just like nodding my head the whole time going like I just want to ditto all of this, especially when it comes to the specialization. Like it's one of those things where when we used AI initially, I think a lot of us were just so enthralled by the speed of it that we didn't care so much about the repetitive elements of it, and we didn't realize how much we're leaving on the table. And then eventually, when that magic becomes commonplace, you're like, "But do I have to keep putting this context in here, keep putting these same constraints in here?" Like you end up getting a list. I remember years ago, I was telling people like, here's a body of things that you need to cut and paste every single time. This is like 3 years ago. And what a drag. At the time, felt like magic, and now it's like it's too much. And good news is that there's a solution to this, and that is creating specialists. And I often term engaging with AI in the sort of raw sense of just going into an LLM as dealing with an intern. They were just born yesterday. They're gonna, disappear at the end of this, and also tons of energy, but no direction. And what they give you is incredibly fast, competent mediocrity. They give you really mostly fail-proof average, which, hey, you're not going to fail, but it's not going to be much better. And it certainly is going to miss a lot of opportunities for your specific domain knowledge. So how can we do better? And that the answer is in these. Depending on the platform of choice, they're called different things. I think each and every one of them is a miss. They should all be named something that was more friendly. I mean, come on, agents even is like the most like scary word that they could have come up with. It's like they looked at the Matrix and they're like, who are the bad guys? Let's make them called that. They could have been AI buddies, but instead they made them as scary as possible. Thanks, tech. But with this, they're called either GPTs or GEMS projects. And in Copilot, they're called Copilot agents. They're really doubling down in the Microsoft world on these terminologies. But suffice to say, what you get from them are steeped in domain knowledge and understanding, and then the outcomes are hopefully constrained for you as you define excellence, as you define success, not how everyone on average does. And I think that anyone who's put in anything into AI and also happens to know something finds the output to be wanting, finds it to be okay but not great, much more fast than excellent. This helps you close that gap. I'm going to get into that in a second. I'm going to show you some use cases. The next slide are ones that I have built these assistants for. I generally build them for everything. What Tracy said is exactly perfectly said, which is if you're going to do it twice, make something that does it well every single time. Like even 2 times is worth it, in my opinion. Now, there's not that many things that we do only twice, but it doesn't make sense for you to do it that way. And the reason for it is that we do so many different things and we're switching between them every 5 minutes. For you to remember 100% of what the best version of that work is unlikely. I mean, if you were to sit down and get, 4 hours to work on a know before you go email, yeah, it's going to be a great know before you go email. Imagine if you could hire somebody who does a know before you go email and that's all they do for you. That's their whole job, 365 days out of the year. It'd be pretty great, right? That's the mentality you need to have of like if you had a specialist and you were to hire them and they were only to create something like that, what would your expectations be? And what you get is really high expectations. But that's okay because the workflow becomes something that is uniform and consistent and also living. You can iterate on this as well, but less iterations. So some of the use cases for these assistants that I've done, training is an excellent one. So an example is all the information you have about a specific topic. Let's say it is exhibiting at a trade show booth, and there's expectations that you have for that. What should you be doing while you're there? How should you engage with people? Persona information, whatever. You can have that information, even if it is transcripts from conversations with an ICP. All of this information becomes like, and I could give you tons and tons of knowledge base items for each one of these that would be interesting. But think about better to think of the framework. What would you train someone on if their only job was to do that? If you had dedicated time for that, and then you invest this time into that area, and then you hopefully don't have to spend as much time in the future. And the training one's excellent because you can have the outcomes, not just tell them that they were wrong or right. You could have the conversations or have the training not just be a sort of multiple choice, but it could be dialogue. All of these options are available to you, but at the end of it, you can have an analysis of how they responded and tell them why they did such a great job on getting it right or what they missed potentially on not getting it correct, and it makes it an evolution of education. That's one idea. Content is a no-brainer, but I bet you're writing blog posts and social media posts using AI in some capacity already, and I bet you've learned a bunch of things. Boy, it says these words too much, or I like it better when it's this, or there's a SEO to take into consideration. If you're thinking about how to take it to the next level, build all those rules, and I'll explain to you those rules next. But so many different opportunities. I find that like one of the ones I did there, it says niche consulting. I built one of these assistants for medical meetings managers at an association event a couple weeks ago. And in that, it was all about compliance. If that's part of your world, and there are rigid legalities associated with what you can and can't do, those are constraints, and those are excellent for AI to utilize. So it turns in how you would engage as a marketer in those environments, which have different rules. It takes those rules into consideration and it gives you options.
Some percent. Yep.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know if that was on purpose or not. And again, repeated tasks and lots of nuanced work. So how is this done in a practicality? I'm going to show you an example of one that I find to be something that is no one has solved this, and maybe somebody in this room has. So has anyone figured out how to get people to register early? Anybody? You put it in chat. What's the silver bullet to this one? And also try to get me to register early. Good luck. I'll be the surrogate for that. I don't think you can. And Goldberg, yeah. Being the all the variations I've heard on spins on how to do this are basically ways to be unprofitable. You could do that. Like you can give away your main objectives in your organization and get people to register early for sure. But working within the parameters of specifically profitability, I don't know if you can. So for me, I've moved the goalposts. Instead of trying to get people to register early, I've tried to deliver the right message to the right people at the right time, which is everyone, would be like, that sounds great. How do you do that? And you do that systematically through analysis of trends and looking at the correlating information from when people register and what you gather about them at registration in order to determine trends that say a higher likelihood for conversion at specific times. And this is an excellent work for AI because it does it in it's a multitude of types of work. So first is let's look at these correlations and trends between how many years someone has attended this event and when they register, or where they are in the org chart and when they register, or how many years they've been in their organization and when they register. All of these different things you'll find, and you'll find some areas that there isn't a sufficient amount of information to say that this is the case, but there will be inevitably trends that are a tipping points for say, in those first 2 months, the only people that you have a solid chance of converting are people who have attended this event over 10 years. And then you go, well, great. It's very easy for then AI to say, now that we've identified a very specific audience, what's the message that would pull the right levers in order to engage these people? Because you've squared down on something that is fertile ground for opportunity for conversion. So then it helps you determine the trends, which then beget the segments, which then beget the messaging. And then you have to build a calendar of these right messages for right people at the right time. And because you have all the data in there, it is something that has a higher likelihood for success. And I'll show you the next slide, the next step of that. So what you want to do is it is basically a role-based instruction. And the role-based instruction is who it is. That makes such a difference. I do a lot of exercises with organizations with the same problem and switching the role of who AI is told to be and watch how the outcome of the content radically changes. So like in prompt building, roles are, extremely valuable, but also for an instruction building for assistants, they are as well. It's the first thing you would do when you hire a specialist. You would tell them what their job is. This is who you are, and this defines you. This is your identity. And it constrains it to use that terminology, and also it chooses that level of engagement. So if you're acting as a highly specialized lifecycle marketer, it allows it to think about things in terms of phases of marketing, and then it identifies the trends, and it only suggests audience bases based on trends that it has access to. This is where the knowledge base becomes really, really valuable, because what you want at the end of this is you want the outcomes of the right people getting the right message at the right time. And you also want to steep that in something that tells you the likelihood for success based around trends. So I have a very simple 3-word framework that I utilize when I'm starting to build these assistants. And there is 3 words, and it's always, sometimes, and never. I know a lot of developer mindsets where the sometimes basically is where you spend the most of your time. That is a lot of if then building. So if you're not someone who is either a dev or an engineer, or if you're not somebody who thinks in terms of standard operating procedure writing, this is the one that's the most challenging. But don't worry, these will come over time. So like I would spend the most amount of time in the always content, and the never content, and then treat the sometimes as when you curse or when you experience something in the output that you are like, oof, okay, well, I didn't take this into consideration. That's when you go under the hood in the process of these and go back into the instructions and start adding things to the sometimes. Again, instructions, you can write anything you want in the same way that you can write anything in a prompt, but you have to think about it more like a process as opposed to a one-off. So that's where the constraints around these frameworks come in consideration. The next slide has some of my ideas around always. So these are expectations. When I have a problem with working with large language models, it's always the average or mediocre that I have a problem with, not so much the speed and not so much the capacity. It's just meh. How do you get over that? Well, you give it lots of what the finish line looks like. You give it examples specifically of excellence as you define it. So for me, that stage one is okay, if I'm going to have something that's going to write a blog post for me as an example, I better have my best blog as an example of what I want the outcome to look like. And then the next phase of that is if you have an opportunity to mark that up, so have a best blog post you've ever written as an example, and then say with each paragraph why you made the decisions you did. Now, this is great for systematic types of assistant work where you're like, I figured this out. I know how to make this great. I just don't have the time for this. And I want you to follow the same lines of reasoning that I do. It's great for that. Where it's bad for is ideation, because actually what you're doing is you're mirroring your own thinking, which doesn't really give you as wide a perspective as you would like. So in that instance, I actually wanted to take in multiple perspectives, and the least of which is my own. I want it to give me lots of different examples outside of my own spectrum. But if you're trying to do automate tasks or create standard operating procedures based around things that you know work, and you just want a clone of yourself, take the work that you've already done that you think is great, and then just define in the knowledge section next to it, say, I made this decision for the first sentence in my paragraph to be this because I know that people are inspired by this kind of work, or I open with a narrative and I work backwards. Whatever your system is, give it that, because otherwise what it does is it mirrors the art, it creates artificial neural pathways based around the average of everybody else's work. If you don't want that, you just want it to think like you, show it how you think, and it will create pathways that are based around your reasoning model. Think about blueprints and think about how you do what you do. And then think about the output in a way that has value to you. So for me, like I do a lot of like executive summaries or TLDRs preceding things. That's what I like. Maybe you want something different, but in the same way that you create shorthand with a specialist in your own team, do that as well. Like, hey, I love when I get this, and also it makes me happy. Or my boss likes in this, so do it like that. For me, it's a lot of outputs in depending on the assistant that I create, where the outputs come out in a variety of different stakeholder languages. So, like, do this one for me, and then give me another output that is for the CFO in terminology that they would respect, and then another one for the CMO, and one for the sales leader. And that was alluded to earlier as well with Tracy. I mean, like, that was the part that I chimed in on chat for. So excited when I hear that. Like, that's so the difference between buy-in from other parts of your organization and the work that you do is simply changing the language and having them see things in their terminology. So again, these are the always, and then the next slide has sometimes. These are changing all the time, and these are the things that I end up adding to the most. But think if-then scenarios. In this instance, for me, when I'm building this agent that is, this assistant that is looking at trends in order to produce a calendar for me for segmentation. I want a lot of experiences that I've had where I didn't get enough information, and then I want them to call that out. I want to know that this is an outlier piece of data. It says this, but frankly, the sample size is too small. I want them to warn me on things. And a lot of those pieces of information are really valuable. So when I'm saying this is the way it is, I'm also given a stipulation to say, based on a limited data set that I have. Or if it's an expansive data set, say, this is one where I have 10 years worth of data, and this is a conclusive trend that shows me that I can really lean on this, and therefore I'm less likely to A/B test or do measurement on it. I'm more likely to take that as being a likelihood for truth. These are things that are, based around my experience. Think about the experiences that you've had and leverage as much of that as possible in the always. And then the never section. These are my hard lines. These are things I can never cross. For me, a lot of it, when it comes to data, is specific data outputs that protect the PII of the people who I'm looking at, redact information, that take into consideration that if I don't need specific data sets, then don't apply them. It will do the blinding for me and the redacting. Sometimes there is an anonymousness that I've applied to many, especially in the output of, like, let's say, content creation for me. I'm always anonymizing the content based around the majority of the work that I personally work on. But the big one for me is mission, vision, and values. No matter what, I can never cross any of those lines. Like that's who we are, and I never want any of the output I have to fight that. So. Again, anything that you would find that is the ick for you, define that as the never and make sure that you don't cross those lines. And then when it comes to what this actually looks like, the other element besides instructions is knowledge. And this is where, for the most part, you have to do the least amount of iteration, I think, as opposed to the instructions. Instructions, you're always going to come up with other scenarios that you didn't anticipate. So that's sort of living. The knowledge, there are other opportunities for additional knowledge, usually when it comes to like year to year. For instance, in this instance, there's going to be registration information that you gather each year or each engagement. It could be a multi, could be more frequent than a year, and these are likelihoods for opportunities for increased knowledge. You're also going to want to be able to constrain it with who you are as an organization. You're going to want your brand voice to be consistent, so therefore the message that you have, no matter who you're talking to at what time, it would still be from your voice. And then any kind of like insights that you've gathered post event that would then tether this to examples of registration information trends too. So what you could find is people who register earlier are the ones that are more likely to complain about, I don't know, the chicken being dry or the weather or some other, post event data that usually comes up that's terrible. It doesn't matter. Like these are moving targets, and you have the opportunity to add to this and enrich it further as time goes on. But your expectations just go up and up and up because you've done formalized training and not just looking at every industry trend that's ever been done by any other industry. Like this is about you and this is about your specific world. And then the next slide has like what this actually looks like when you engage with it. So in this is an instance where it is Gemini, and you ask it, hey, I need to identify some trends, and I want to take into consideration this previous event that we did, which is new information for you. And what I want from you is to give me opportunities for what the higher likelihoods and tipping points are for registration conversion to happen at specific times for specific groups. And I don't know, like that's all I really want. I just want to be in reality. I think that most people have expectations of event marketing that are based around wishes and dreams. We need to have this many people by this period of time. Great. Why is that just what you would like to have happen, or do you think that that could happen based around trends that you've seen that are predictable and likely? I find that specifically in the world I'm in, which is often a lot of associations, there is association leadership who are often asking for dreams, as opposed to we could, do this based around the trend, or there is a likelihood for this that if we continue putting, increased investment in this area, that will be a higher likelihood of that. There is none of that. So I find that most people's use cases for AI end up being in content generation. That's great. The next level, and this is an example of that you should all be thinking about it, is trend analysis. Like, don't speak just from your experience. Don't speak from your opinion. Speak from statistical likelihoods based around trends. Everyone will lean into what you say more. Every stakeholder will give you more validity because they think that your domain is one of witchcraft already. So like they don't understand what you do. So put it in as black and white terms as you can. And if you're the one speaking from objective metrics more than the next person, they're more likely to give you the resources that you need. So for me, it's all about utilizing AI not for just one thing, but using it to build to something better. I want to increase registration. I need to look at the history in order to find opportunities for where I can put more pressure. I need to have messages. So like these are all just need. But build it like a flow, and then what you get is these types of outputs, which allow you to make judgment calls that are more likely to be true and convert people when they're ready.
Perfect. Amazing. I hope you are inspired by all of this. Everybody is at a different place in their AI journey. So we're here. We only have a couple more minutes. I think Tracy and Nick are willing to stay a little bit later. I know our calendars are on hold until 11. So if you need to drop, because I know it's only 45-minute meetup, you're welcome to. But if you have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. Um, I also like to just ask questions. I've been writing questions down. So, Tracy, how much are you pre-scheduling? So you get all this content, right? How much are you pre-scheduling? Slacks, emails, all that just to make it so much easier.
I'm the queen of a pre-schedule. I love it when I'm at the team dinner and everybody gets a Slack from me with further instructions. I honestly pre-schedule as much as humanly possible.
Yep. Love it. I
By the
had a
way,
feeling you
I
were going to
don't
say
do
that.
any of that, so I should probably learn from you. The thing that I do is reports. So like I have a lot of it, all those pre-scheduled things are for me based around watching my behaviors and then having reports that come out at different intervals. But like external, I could probably get a lot better at.
On the same vein, Nick, I also have internal I ask Claude to run reports for myself at the end of the week, at the start of the week to show me what's open, what's left, what's dangling.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
that's great.
you polled, so how many people are recording their meetings and such? So I record my meetings. Those all have action items. Those can automatically update your work back schedule or
Mhm.
Asana or whatever you want. All of that is possible. So
Yeah,
Tracy, are you
I
doing
did
that?
see one question that I kind of wanted to touch on. Is someone asked if you were to get a new job today, what three systems would you set up for yourself? And I wish I had more systems. I'm just on Claude. That's what my company pays for, and that's what we're in. But it sounds like Whisper's really popular too. So I'm curious to hear what else others three systems are.
Yeah, if everyone wants to drop them in the chat, I think that would be great. I can share mine. So I use Claude, Whisper, and Granola. Those are my three. Love all
This
of
is
them.
Hex. Ooh, what's
Okay.
Hex?
I haven't used Hex. We'll look at it. We will, so if you drop the tools that you love in there, I've tried a lot of different tools. And those are the three that I go back to. I've used Otter as well. Otter is great. It's another meeting tool, meeting recording
Oh,
tool. I'm trying both. I use Granola now because it just has more connections. Gamma, another one with Otter. Hey Jen. Never heard of Hey Jen.
It's a video editing suite, but it also has the opportunity to create like digital twins of yourself. So it can, yeah, I've done that for C-suite team members who marketing comms teams don't have the opportunity to get scripts in front of them. So very well lit. Spend a lot of time learning on that individual, and then has the opportunity to create a digital version of them that you can put words in their mouth, and it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it gets attention. Yeah, very cool.
Conditional say like SDR outreach, on behalf of that individual
Mhm.
becomes like a scalable approach where having them, record content constantly that is individualized is not scalable.
Yeah, very cool. Um, 11 labs for audio, image, and video gen. I use Canva as well, but I think Canva was around before AI. But there's a lot of items in Canva that you can now incorporate with AI. Like you can create your own music and you can update things like current images with inspiration. Replit for slides. Yep, I've heard a lot about that. I've downloaded it. I haven't used it. Fathom Video. Whisperflow. Tracy, I'd try that one. You can do it for free. Whisperflow allows you to download it for free and just see if you like it. You might fall in love with it though. That's my only warning. You can so you can record in AI, right? Like you can voice record and it will pop your words in there. But for some reason, Whisper just seems a lot easier. I don't know why. And I do Whisper in all of my things. Um,
I use transcripts a lot, by the way. Like the output of transcripts I use for optimization of internal meetings in order to have digest the dynamics of a specific meeting. So you can give individualized playbooks for every person so their expectations coming into the meeting are set. But the other thing I use it for is the building blocks for either persona development or role play agents. And then the role play agents act as surrogates for opportunities for training as well as sales. and it just takes the cadence of the personas and it makes it real. So it actually sounds more like, who you're going to be dealing with.
Absolutely. Well, and Tracy had a good point earlier. She's just one person, right? But what she has built has scaled her ability, and it's all about context too. So she could hire someone else, but then she'd have to manage them, then she'd have to teach them, etc. So she's built a system because she, in her mind, how many years have you been in the industry, Tracy?
Yeah, 20. I remember when
20.
we used to get the big 3-ring binders for every show.
Yeah. So she has 20 years. So she hires an assistant. They won't have that in their mind, right? And so getting that out through your systems is just unbelievable. And if you don't have 20 years of experience, that's okay. AI can actually help you and up level you as well. But it's just amazing to see what is possible. You see those ads. I know a lot of people see ads where it's like, oh, I'm a team of one, but I have a personal assistant. I have an event manager. I have a copywriter. I have this person and that person. It is true to an extent. You really can say, I wish I had a personal assistant. AA, help me create that today. Give me that morning report. Help me understand which meetings I'm in. Help me understand what needs to be responded to first. And AI can create that for you. Um, I know that a lot of people aren't sure when to use chat, when to use co-work, and when to use code. I know your download that we're going to share will explain that a little bit. I'm not using code a lot. I mostly use
Um,
chat and co-work and skills.
mhm.
Anybody
I think
using code?
I haven't used code yet either. I'm using mostly chat for just like my general work things and then co-work when I need to connect to my systems, other tools like HubSpot, Salesforce, Metabase.
Yep. And I didn't even know in because I kind of have leaned into Claude, but a lot of us are in Google. I'm guessing a ton of us are in Google. So there is a like a jewel in the upper right hand corner that you can like, for example, if I'm doing copy editing for something, I can just go to that jewel and say, hey, here's all my feedback. I just talk to it, or I use Whisper. Actually, I use Whisper. I think you have to type, but I use Whisper. I just talk about what I like, what I want changed, and Gemini will just edit it for you automatically. And you can say whether you like it or not. So you can start doing that right away. It's just right in your, have you guys, do you guys have you done this before? Anyone? It's amazing. Okay, I'll just show my screen really quick. Oh, I can't. Evie, help me share my screen. Or just everyone go to a copy and there's a little jewel. Okay, well, let me do it now. Okay, here. Let's see. So you guys can see my screen okay? It's just right here. So I can go in, create slides, provide feedback, change the design. It's all just right here. And you can do that within your copy as well. So that's that part. This is the resource that Tracy has just amazingly provided for all of you guys that we will share. But if I wanted to say, like, make it more, you know, my tone, for example, and I can grab a prompt, I'm this, I'm that, and the other. It will rewrite the entire thing for me in my tone, in my voice. It will still be perfect. The information will still come through. It'll just be in my tone versus um, Tracy or AI's, right? AI writes. And sometimes the more generic, unless you train it. I know Nick's like, you can train it.
You
You
can,
can train
yeah,
it to be you. But if you're
pretty
not there
close.
yet, you can simply just say, I want it to maybe you default on the you're too nice. You know you're too nice, right? I know a lot of event planners that could be considered too nice, and you need your audience to receive it in a direct way. You could just edit it and say, I need this to be more short, succinct, and direct so that my audience, which is whoever you are talking to, will absorb it. I want them to have action. I want them to do it now, and it will reorganize everything for you so that your audience will absorb it the way that you want it. All right there, just by giving it a little bit of feedback. Magic. Phenomenal. It's like not even fair. Um, all right. So Dahlia swears by Gamma for slides. Yes, I've heard a lot about Gamma. We have a gal on our team who uses Gamma all the time. I've tried, but I think it was when it was too early. I haven't tried it recently. But honestly, you can build slides. Have you guys seen this? Did you build your slides, Tracy, using AI? I'm sure you did.
Yeah, I did,
Yeah.
Claude.
Yeah. And the cool part is she matched it to our brand.
Look at that.
I didn't even tell her to. She matched it to our brand. So I just created a whole training for my team. Um, and it just created it all on my brand. How many people are recording their um like their meeting? So if you have a pre-con, right? Everybody has a pre-con all the time. You have these pre-cons. You know it when you just killed it on a pre-con or some meeting. You know it when you killed it. You're like, I just killed that. Or you know it when you didn't kill it and what you missed. You can upload that to AI and update whatever your thing is. Oh, Tracy needs to drop. Anyways, we still have 38 of us. Anybody have any additional questions? Nick, any final thoughts?
I mean, for me, it's if you're ever getting friction with the output being not up to your standards or not talking like you or not being that, that's when you start building these things. Once you do that, you realize that it doesn't take much more time than prompting something, and then it's exponential changes. But my most exciting output is something that just requires less and less iterations, and also is up to my level of expectations. Like I really find that like most people in the event space have pretty high expectations. Like that's kind of our job, is to have high expectations.
Mm.
And the friction with AI adoption is that it ends up being like never great, always just expedient and less than great. So like I think raising the bar on your expectations in the same way that if you hired somebody who has done something for 20 years, you would have expectations that are differently than if you have somebody that was there for their first year. So in like 2026, the rest of the year, like just raise your expectations by being clear and understanding that like thinking 360 degrees and having a standard operating procedure mentality, it will be the difference between mediocre fast or excellent fast.
And the way that I find that that works the best is you have to create space to pause in your schedule
Yeah,
rather than rush, 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 which I know a
it's
lot
front
of
loaded. That's the
yeah, a
problem.
lot of event planners are go, 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 go. But if you just pause and take that time, it will save you so much time in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, ultimately, I think that we know most things, but we have a cognitive load problem and a switching between things too frequently. That means that you never get to stop and do that. But if you do one deliberate stop and do that, every so often, like, and treat it like it's a meeting of like, hey, I'm going to build a tool once a week that does a thing that I do, you will see that after a couple months, you're doing less of that, and you're also having more time for eyes up thinking as opposed to eyes down thinking.
Yep. So if you don't have an AI strategy yet and you're still thinking about it, kind of create a wish list. Like you said, just tackle little bits at a time. I'd like a personal assistant. How can I do that, AI? I'd like my voice to come out more true or what have you. I'd like, sales isn't listening to me. How do I get sales to listen? Just add a little and then go tackle it little bit by little bit. All right. That is it. Most people are dropping. There's only 30 left. So I think we'll go ahead and wrap up. Thank you so much, Nick. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, everyone, for joining. This record will eventually end up on YouTube. We'll provide the resources, and we hope to see you at the next meetup and in the Event Professional Slack. So thank you again, Nick.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes. Yeah. Thanks, everybody.